Welcome to The First Turn. I'm your host, Hyena, and today, Llama and I are talking about This Week in Warhammer. If you like what you hear, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share, or let us know if there's something you'd like to hear us talk about. Alright, let's get to it.
Welcome to The First Turn. I'm Hyena.
I'm Llama.
Today we're doing our weekly roundup of Warhammer stuff.
Yep.
And, other things as well. It doesn't have to be Warhammer, but mostly.
It's mostly.
Mostly. We have...
nothing.
We have nothing.
Nothing. There was nothing.
No, there really wasn't much. No, there was a little bit. We can find interesting things to talk about, but there wasn't very much this week. There was a lot of filler, a lot of off the wall, kind of like
shooting phase tactics in 40K.
Some bizarre articles, but more importantly, we had received an actual release trailer kind of thing for a box set coming out for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah,
that was one thing that was confirmed, and we had talked about this in previous weeks here about some rumors that we had heard about that we were hoping to come true, and this confirms, I want to say, quite a bit. And while we haven't seen models in any way, we have seen box art, which includes a lot of the things that were rumored.
Some eyebrow raisers.
Now, it's I don't know, I'm always confused where rumors come from, especially when it's the same people producing the same rumors accurately every time. Is there someone who's on the production side who gets to see artwork mock-ups? Is it someone who is in the photography where they're able to see the photos that are taken for box art? Is it someone who's got a friend in the design team who gives them nuggets and they're
is it someone who's in shipping or receiving or whatever?
Is it someone who's making the actual boxes for the products? And because we've seen pallets, photos of pallets of new battle tomes and codexes, right, from China, where they were printed, and we've seen them, palletized, and that's how we get the information on that. I don't know where it comes from, but it's it's always so cryptic to me because it's
a little bit,
It's it often seems like it's someone who doesn't really understand what they're seeing. They're just trying to describe it, and then it's left to us to actually figure out what's going on, because the information usually isn't definitive. We could have heard something the Cities of Sigmar is getting new models, and there's new Chaos Warriors that are Nurgle and new Bestigor stuff. But it's okay, well, so where'd you get that? Did you literally see the box that we saw earlier this week?
Right.
And you told us that?
And you devised from that.
And then, but we don't know what's in that box.
We
don't know how many of them. I don't know if they're specific to this box, if they're going to actually expand the army. We hope so, right? When you look at Cursed City, when that came out, and it...
What is Cursed City? Did that ever come out? What's that?
Yes, exactly. Cursed City, however, when you look at the starter box, the first box that came out for it, it did kind of lay the groundwork for a lot of visual updates that we did receive, right? So we see... the skeleton warriors in that box, the Ulfenkarn sort of, I don't know, Mesopotamian. I don't know how to describe their armor. It's lots of overlapping plates, not really great, scales almost, where it's kind of that, I don't know, sort of Middle Eastern, but sort of I don't know, Asian-ish.
Maybe.
Sort of, I don't know, kind of armor. That style of armor started in Cursed City. And then when they released Skeleton Warriors on their own, later down the line,
payoff.
They took that aesthetic and they made the full... Same with the zombies. The zombies had, these graves staked into them so they couldn't rise from the dead, and they did anyway. But the zombies themselves look exactly like the ones that later came out, right? So, Cursed City did start...
it did foreshadow some
some of the, some of the releases. I'm hoping we see that here, right?
The only thing that so it's funny is I like to set myself up, or let me rephrase that. I like to be disappointed in advance when it's anything that I'm interested in at Age of Sigmar, because we do that with every preview event, right? I always assume we're getting nothing. So when people talked about, for example, Maggot Kin of Nurgle getting a massive update, well, they're one of my armies for Age of Sigmar, and almost everything that they described we were getting, I saw in the artwork for the quest box.
Right.
And I was like, oh no.
Oh, boy.
This is what people actually saw, thinking it was an update for the army.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm confused about. It's like, did you just see this box art? Did you see the actual models?
I wonder if they saw the contents
Were the
of the
models
box, maybe.
the contents of this box? You're like, oh yeah, I saw models. There's some Chaos Warriors that are heavily armored. There's some
Pestigores. There's
Pestigores.
a Demon Prince.
It's like, yeah, but is it all for this essentially board game?
Right.
Who aren't necessarily the right, numbers of models to make full units, or even going to have rules in the main game. It's like, is this it, or is this foreshadowing? Right, for what the aesthetic and the
but
the
if
army
it's
update is
foreshadowing,
going to be.
how far ahead is it?
Right. And so it's all like, all right, well, it's somewhere in this range on the scale.
You bring up an interesting point there about what do these rumor mongers really know?
Right.
Because if even going back to the days when there were far fewer products GW was supporting, and there were these quote reliable rumor mongers who appeared on forums and on Reddit and whatnot, they would preface a lot of their rumors with, so I don't play or keep up with Warhammer anymore and haven't for a decade, but I saw this. Right. And they describe a thing. And so it was like trying to understand, this is a far-reaching example, but hear me out. It was like trying to understand what the hell John is talking about in the book of Revelation.
Okay.
It's like, this has the head of a lion and the wing of a bat and the what, and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? And so that's what it sounds like. These people don't really know what they're seeing, but it's foreshadowing something and so that's what it sounds like to me sometimes. So then I have a couple of questions. Why do we trust them when they don't know what they're looking at? But also, how are they getting this information if they're not even interested in this game or in the hobby? Right. Who is giving them this stuff? Because it ends up kind of accurate when it comes out. And so my concern, and maybe your concern since you have Cities of Sigmar, and we hear that both Maggotkin and Cities have big updates coming, I wonder if it's like, did they just see the models in this box, assume those are going to be in the army proper, and maybe they will someday, but not anytime soon. And how did they get access to this if they don't know what they're looking at?
Well, it's like, and you hear rumors from different people, and while they sound like complimentary but different rumors, maybe they're not. Because again, we had heard like, oh well, Maggotkin are getting an update and Caesar getting an update, and I saw these things with these new characters and these new units and this new Demon Prince and stuff. It's like, okay, cool. I see that in this board game.
Yeah.
Are you saying there's an exact duplicate of all of that in another 2-player box set? Because one thing that made me think of that is I saw a comment on like a Reddit post that was essentially like, cool, this looks awesome. I'd be willing to split this with somebody because I like cities. So I'd take the cities half.
Right.
And it's like, there's no half. This isn't your 2-player starter box of here's half an army, here's half an army of 2 different armies, and you can split it with a friend. It's like, that's not what this is. But I could see someone assuming that's what it was because they don't know what the quest is.
Yeah.
And so like maybe one person's like, well, I know this is the board game, it's got this stuff in it, and someone else sees it and it's like, oh, I saw a similar thing that's very similar to that where it's like a 2-player box set of cities versus Nurgle. It's like, I'm worried you both saw the same thing and interpreted it differently.
Yep.
And so like we get these massive lists of rumors, but it's like, what if it's half of what we had heard? And there's not more than just this. I even get it with like whenever the rumor engine comes up now. And Games Workshop has oddly acknowledged it in a bit of humor with the last one, where they're like, some people got close to guessing what a thing is, so now we decided to make it more vague. Here's literally 2 ribbons. Right.
Have fun.
But that ribbon is actually pretty telling. No, seriously.
Or maybe the paint style of it is kind of.
I don't know. Just the style. I mean, it looks very Eldar.
Because if you wouldn't have had those 2 pin lines on there, I don't think you'd guess Eldar.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because
it looks very Eldar.
They cut so much out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's those pin lines,
Yeah.
But like, which I think is tongue in cheek for them. But you're right. It could just be multiple people saw the same thing and interpreted it differently. Someone might have seen the real thing. Someone might have seen pictures, but and then they assumed it's a 2-player box set.
Right.
Even though for Age of Sigmar specifically, we really haven't had one of those since
Game and Tide.
The starter box, which is kind of the only way they do it now for that.
Yeah. Which, getting onto Skaven Tide, I actually want to talk about that too. Mm-hmm. So we're moving on to the rumors. But the Warhammer Plus series called Sigmar's Toll is wrapped. 3 episodes total.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that if you haven't seen it, I don't care. I'm going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah. No spoiler warning.
The second episode has a sequence in it where the Stormcast are fighting against the Skaven. And it is literally the launch trailer for 4th edition.
Yeah.
It was that whole sequence with
Yep.
the rat ogre running and the warp blaster running down. It runs over his little dude that's running with it. Like that entire sequence,
And then the
was
bigger fish eating
was in this episode, and it's like, holy crap! Now it makes sense where they got that animation from, right? It wasn't just something they made for the launch of 4th edition.
No,
They pulled it from this episode. A year later, released it,
yeah,
and hope we wouldn't notice. I don't know. Like it was weird, and it's like, okay, I remember when 10th edition of 40K launched, and they released a trailer that had the new Infernus Marines with the new Librarian and the new Terminators and all the new Tyranid monsters.
Yep.
The Psychophage and the
Neurotyrant,
all of that,
yeah.
right? That came out in an animation on its own, and then when that was done, they're like, by the way, here's the box containing literally everything you just saw.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was cool. That was an awesome way to reveal models by showing us like an animation of the stuff. And why didn't they do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why didn't they do with this series, this 3-part series that are 20 minutes long, it's like an hour long total?
Yeah.
Why didn't they release this as like, hey, we're expanding the lore on Stormcast and introducing this idea of like the permanent death of Stormcast because they've lost all of themselves, lost all their memories, whatever. We are going to release a mini series that explains all that. Here's the launch box set with those guys in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like explains a little bit better of what's going on there, and then boom, there it is. And then everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. I want those models now. Instead of like a year after that box comes out, now you release the episodes. It's just really weird timing. I feel like they had it done a year ago and chose not to release it with the launch of the edition. That's just really strange to me. I don't understand why.
Yeah. I mean,
why now? Because they had that weird, like, cryptic, like, oh, hey, here's a little cryptic thing. Sigmar lied. And it's like, everyone's like, what does that mean? What is it? What's going to happen? What does it mean? We had no real payoff.
Oh, it's the Ruination Chamber.
We just had like a little thing like, oh, we were talking about the Ruination Chamber and like how you lose some of yourself. And like, we knew that the whole time.
It was like as little a payoff as LeBron James' recent announcement that ended up just an ad.
Oh.
So like, he's like, big things coming, and then ended up an ad for something. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It was like, you hyped us up for. Now, I thought it was cool, the series.
Sure, yeah.
Just released at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And the one rat got to use a gun that he doesn't have rules for in the game.
No, that rat does.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, I
so
stand
the guy on the Gnaw Beast, the warlord, has a pistol, and he actually has shots in his war
There was a
sword.
guy on foot who used one, though.
Well, he lost his beast and used it on foot, didn't he?
There's another guy with a gun.
Well, then that Storm Vermin who has, or the clan rat that has a pistol in the kit, that uses his pistol, does not actually have rules to use that pistol.
No.
It's a visual thing. No, it was just really weird. It's just a really weird timing to release it now and like try to play off of that Sigmar lied thing, because we see
a year later.
the true death of a Stormcast, and she just doesn't get resurrected. And like,
well, they don't even go up into the clouds or anything.
Right.
It's just the body just sits there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's a really weird timing to have done that. Like, I don't know. It's just strange.
And I think there's a little bit. There might have been foreshadowing at something coming in that, but which might be why they released it now. There was also I don't like to use this term because a lot of gamers do, but there was a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The lady who experiences her final death, spoiler, I think would have been a neat named character they could have made.
I agree.
Now, not that the Stormcast are lacking for characters, but I like that they trim a bunch of useless ones and now give us these cool named ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Black Talon, Bastion Carthalos, like these ones, and now this lady could have had a name and been specifically a Ruination Chamber Lord, whatever Etant. But there was one thing there. There were some regular human characters that I thought were interesting that we do not have models for yet.
Which ones?
They were they were a little bit fanatical. They had the robes, and some of them had the masks and the torches, and they're reading from books, and we don't really have those yet.
Yeah, we do.
New ones?
So they are tokens for the Reclusians.
Okay.
That unit of axe and shield guys, they come in that kit. Yeah.
They need to make a unit of
they
fanatics
absolutely
of
do.
them for cities.
I assume that they initially had rules for being extra models in that unit.
They do.
Or they were a separate a support unit that you could buy in addition that would give them a buff or something. But now they are just like whenever a character brings a Gryph-hound. the Gryph-hound doesn't have wounds anymore. It doesn't have stats.
Or it's like every Dark Angel that has a Watcher in the dark or whatever.
It's just a token that you remove when a rule gets used.
Yeah.
These guys are like that. They help the Reclusians have a better buff, and then when you fail the roll or something, like you remove one of them as a casualty.
See, I think aesthetically,
they're super cool.
They should make a unit of them for Cities of Sigmar. And they might still. Yeah. But because if they're going to expand them, you need a Fanatic Flagellant equivalent, I think. Because it's funny is like, I
think they're called Memorians.
Well, it's like, while the Stormcast Eternals are Sigmar's resurrecting and recurring creation, the humans are the real fanatics.
Well, the humans are the ones that matter.
They are.
Like, the whole point of Sigmar doing the thing with the Stormcast is to, make the world livable to humans. Yeah. The humans are the ones that we should be caring about and should be mattering, not these permanently, mostly permanently recurring, resurrectable eternal warriors.
While there are parallels, that is like how Space Marines are. It's like, while a lot of stories have been written about them, the universe or the galaxy, as the Emperor sees it, is supposed to be for humans, not Space Marines. That's why the Space Marines are used, so the humans don't.
But I feel like there's so little stakes involved in the Stormcast's endeavors, right? We saw that with Black Talon. Like, it's hard to really care about Black Talon in a way, right? Because it's like, well, they intentionally we're just going to go there and do our job, and then to get out, we bite a poison pill and just die and kill ourselves, so that we can respawn back in Azir. It's like, there's no stakes in that,
right?
There's no danger there. You're going to die. You intend to go die. Yep. That's your escape method, and it's like, that's silly. Like, I've always liked the idea of, like, if I were going to do, especially the campaign wise, people playing as a character, like, you need to have stakes involved. You need to have, like, loss as an actual penalty. And, like, I don't know, there was something in Black Talon where there was a blackened sky as a mechanic, right? Okay. For whatever zone they were operating in, the blackened sky confused the paths back to Azir. Is basically the explanation. Okay. So under these clouds, and I think it might have been something to do with Bellicor or a storm above a dark elf city. I don't remember what it was specifically, but it was like there was something interfering that you didn't know if you were ever going to be able to make it back to Azir if you died under the blackened clouds, the blackened sky. And it's like, there you go, finally. Yep. You're now undertaking a mission to go assassinate somebody, and you don't know that if you die, you'll actually be resurrected. Now the Stormcasts are actually kind of scared to go take on the mission, because it's like,
I don't just get infinite respawns.
Right, like, we might not make it back if we do this one. And it's like, good, they need that. Space Marines are like that, right? Space Marines are like, yes, you can replace a lot of parts with extra organs and mechanical limbs and stuff, but it's like, if you die, you're dead. Yep. If you get eaten by a Carnifex, usually, you're dead. So, I don't know. So that's a big difference, I think, between two very similar kinds of characters. And it's like stakes and no stakes. So I don't know. I think one of the weaknesses of the Stormcast Eternals is they should be peerless warriors that don't actually die, as opposed to ones that can die and they intend to, and they let themselves die very easily sometimes with their thick-plated Stormcast armor, and any kind of knife can, and the fact that they're go straight through it
compared to everybody else.
When they stab right through this heavy plate armor, and they're like, "Oh, I'm stabbed!" They turn to lightning and die immediately. Yeah, it's like, it should be things that actually kill you that send you back to Azir, not just like paper cuts.
Or like what was that, Edge of Tomorrow, where it's like where he's training to get better, and she would just kill him to start over every day, and it's like sometimes he was just mildly injured and she'd kill him anyway. That's what it's like. Yeah. Well, I got hurt, just kill me so I go back to Azir. I just
don't like that. Yeah. That's like I said, that's one of the weakest aspects of Stormcast Eternals.
Yeah. Speaking of weak stories, you know what I don't care about anymore, speaking of this week's thing, is another perspective on the Drop Site Massacre.
Yeah.
I mean, guess what? They released more about the Drop Site Massacre.
There's like 4 main settings that take place in the Horus Heresy. It's like Holy Terra.
Yep.
And the Siege of Terra.
Yep.
You've got the 2 Drop Site Massacres, and there's one other one.
I don't know.
That we visit all the time.
Yep.
But most of these big ones have stories that are perspectives from all different angles. And I thought we had finally wrapped up the Siege of Terra. We'd finally wrapped up the Dropsite Massacre and the Istvan's basically a long time ago. But now there's a new Dropsite Massacre novel coming out
for an anthology or something
from another perspective of the event. It's like we know what happened already. We've been over it.
Yeah,
like,
we don't need another Remembrancer, another Marine from Squad whatever, from Company whatever, from a now Shattered Legion.
There are plenty of other stories from the Heresy that we haven't touched on, that we could absolutely expand on, and it'd be interesting things, right? Like anything to do with like during the Crusade, before the Heresy.
Yeah, we don't have enough of that at all.
Right? Or post Heresy conclusion. There's no kind of like stories in between, the Emperor killing Horus and modern 40K, right? Like we don't know what happened in those 10,000 years. Like there's not a lot of stories about
bits,
that.
So they're starting that now, the scouring, and we saw the artwork of Guilliman and Dorn arguing and all the Primarchs in the room, but so great, we're going to get some of those, but please, they still call it, by the way, it's still the same gold backing, and it still says the Horus Heresy, the scouring. Like this is not the Horus Heresy anymore. It's over.
Right.
Like he's dead.
Which is why I was so confused why they rebranded it from like 30K Horus Heresy, 30K Horus Heresy to the Horus Heresy, and like you're like pigeonholing yourself into this very, call it brief era between the Crusade start and the death of Horus, and the Emperor on the Golden Throne. Like you're locked into that era of the actual Horus Heresy now.
Yeah,
it's like this is 30K, the Horus Heresy. Then you could have 30K, the Scouring.
Right.
30K, Crusade era. Whatever, like whatever you like setting you want in 30K. But you're locked into Horus Heresy now is like the thing, and it's like it's not accurate. It's kind of irritating. In fact,
it is.
That it's like you calling it the Horus Heresy Scouring. It's like no, the heresy is over.
Yep.
Like we're done. The damage is done. Horus is dead. The
Emperor's on the throne.
The traitor legions have left to do their own things. The loyalist legions are now trying to clean up the mess. Like the Horus Heresy's over. Like it's odd, but I guess it's punchy and it's rememberable.
And they released one more anthology that went into some of the stuff, which of course touched on a part of the rumors about what the Emperor is and everything that started there. But now we know the Scouring's coming finally, but it's like I couldn't believe they snuck in another perspective on the damn Dropsite Massacre. Like, stop it with Istvan.
Yep. And it was such a small, like it was the starting ignition point
of
the Horus Heresy, but it was such a small part of it.
Yeah.
Besides like the one Istvan 5 where it was just a perpetual battle zone for 30 years or whatever it was, 40 years in the Heresy. Like the Dropsite Massacre itself ended very quickly. A ship escaped. They warned everybody, but the massacre was over. Well, a
lot of the main players never even fought. Like outside of Ferris dying, it was like
when Ferris fought that demon sword,
a demon sword,
because he wasn't fighting Fulgrim.
Nope.
He was fighting the sword.
Yeah, in fact,
and the sword killed him.
He and Fulgrim had fought to exhaustion. Fulgrim was starting to regret his decision, and then the sword went nope, and like literally leapt at Ferris's head.
Yeah.
But then you had so many of them, like Vulcan and Corvus, and like all that. They like a lot of them escaped. I don't know. Anyway, we don't need another guy's perspective on what happened there. The story's done to death.
Calth? Was it Calth? Is that the fourth setting?
Calth. That had to do with like Lorgar and Guilliman, right? And then the Emperor showed up and scolded Lorgar or whatever.
What was the one for Prospero Burns? We won't really have a lot of perspective on that, but that was again with one planet, one setting.
Well, if you look at how many novels there were in the Horus Heresy, there is a chunk where they touch that, right? But that's the point. It's like it was really like 5 total events that they spread out over 60 books plus books. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Just be done with it now. You have all the lore that you need from that era. And that's the thing, though, is when you fully expand something beyond the myth of a fantasy universe, you go in and you explain the details. What happens every time is even when it ends well, the fans still feel like they're either sad, bittersweet that it's over, or they feel unfulfilled and now they need more because they're afraid to move on.
Yep.
So what do they do? Let's throw out another perspective about what happened there. Guy who survived the drop site thing. I don't know. I just was surprised that came out now. It's like
it's wild.
you even previewed the Scouring book or the Scouring era, like it's time to move on, and we could move on as well. That's all we needed to say about that, really.
Yeah.
So today, which is Sunday when we're recording this, they did their, hey, here's the pre-order that's coming next week for pre-order.
Yeah. So this weekend we had the actual pre-orders, which were the rest of the handful of Space Marine.
The Khan and the Var guy, both coming.
Iron
finally.
Hands, the Combat Patrol containing the jet bike captain for White Scars.
Yep.
And then a bunch of books are available again. Notably, the Abraxia one.
Yeah. So the special edition or limited edition art release, which was impossible. The day it came up, I couldn't get one. It was, but now the regular version of the book is going to be available. And then there were some other ones I don't really know if I care about.
And then event models, the new Smash Captain for Space Marines.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Is the Warhammer Day figures were a Smash Captain, a Primaris Smash Captain.
Another one.
Yeah, because we have one, right?
Yeah, we have one that's not that old that has a Power Fist, I believe.
Yeah.
This one's got Storm Shield and Relic Shield and Stormhammer, or Thunderhammer available.
And then a couple of head options, and then the Exalted Hero on foot for Slaves to Darkness.
That is limited edition.
That one
weird.
is only while supplies last and only on like Warhammer Day.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So if you get it online, great. If your store gets it, great. Otherwise,
it's
too bad.
Here and gone, which is insane. Like, it's such a cool model. Why would you limited edition that one? Why wouldn't you actually just give a new model and give it special, unique rules and give it a name and let it be just a unique character?
Well, so what you just said there, that's a key. So they gave him a name for some reason.
Yeah.
Like
Well, they did that with the freaking Chaos Sorcerer as well.
They give him a unique name, but then he won't actually have unique rules.
Right.
It'll be like, no, you play this as an Exalted Hero or as a Lord on foot or whatever.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. Why? Why are you afraid to introduce new rules to the game and a new character? Like, why?
Consider how many named characters Slaves to Darkness actually have. So you have big ones. You have Archaon Bellicor. Then you have your medium ones, Abraxia, Eternus.
Yeah, that's it.
The end.
Yeah, I mean, you squatted. Let me say that. You got rid of all of the. I mean, I guess Gunner Brand is another one, but
always unit. Yeah.
But like all the other characters that were unique were in like Warcry warbands and Underworld warbands and stuff like that from other games, and you've either made them all generic or you've just sent them all to Legends.
Yep.
All the unique stuff is gone. You have these big ones, but there's nothing like mid-level.
Nope.
You know.
And here you have a chance with this guy, so here's the thing, you can't give him rules because not everybody's going to get this model.
Right.
So that's probably what they're thinking. But then the Smash Captain with the jump pack, they decided, no, this model's going to be available forever.
It's a Warhammer Day exclusive, but we're just going to keep making them. We're not going to stop making them.
Yeah. And I get that Space Marines are obviously everywhere, but a Chaos guy on foot is usable in at least 2 games I know of.
Yeah.
So
people would absolutely get that guy for Old World.
Yep.
I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do. Weird choice.
Made me tempted to try to pre-order a couple.
Yeah.
Sit on one and then paint the other. Just pre-ordered one, though. We'll see if I get one.
I might get 2 if I can, and then see if the shop's got one.
Oh, yeah.
They might get one. And I'm like, because it is one of those things where it's not available forever, and I kind of want to have it, in case.
And it's got a very timeless / classic design.
He looks very much like Foot Archaon.
Yeah, a little Crom the Conqueror-ish.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep. Very classic. Got like the jagged hole cut in the helmet for the eye hole.
Yep.
It's not like a sculpted eye. It's this guy couldn't see because his helmet sealed shut, so he cut a hole in it. Yep. That kind of thing. So yeah, super cool. Really weird choice though. Literally making it limited edition.
Like, I'm excited that I might get one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would have rather that were available for more than just that.
Agreed. And then the other thing we had today being Sunday is we had a next week preview of what's going to be on pre-order.
Let me ask you something about that, by the way.
Yeah.
They haven't really done any this year where Sunday is now a day where they do a video preview. So they've limited their big preview events to Adepticon and then their US Opens / whatever they call them.
Didn't we have a Warhammer Day sometime in like March? No, May.
Well, but it was
like
it
that.
went alongside one of the tournaments, one of the US Open Games Workshop official tournaments.
Yeah, because I'm thinking back a couple years where we had like, for example, like the Sisters of Battle got a preview on a Warhammer Day, and it was just an event. It wasn't with anything. It was just on a free weekend.
Yep.
That kind of thing. You're right. I don't think we've had anything like that this year.
No,
at all.
Now the Sunday quote preview has just been, hey, here's what's going to go on pre-order next week.
Right.
Which isn't really a preview.
No, it's not. Yeah. But the pre-order window next week is the proper release for the Hellsmiths of Hatchet. So they will actually be coming out.
Yep.
So their Battle Tome, the Hobgoblins, which weren't in the starter box, the artillery by itself, gunners,
the guy running the
Torok,
whatever thing.
What is it called? Great Taurus.
Well, and it's two versions.
Infernal Taurus?
It's the big named guy and then a generic
one. But the beast itself is called a Great Taurus, right?
Yeah, okay. I think so.
That, the characters on foot. Basically, the entire army roster is finally being released. So that's cool. We didn't have to wait too long after the limited edition box came out. I'm thinking back to when Dark Oath came out and when Cities came out, and there was another one where it was a special edition box like that, and we had to wait like 3 months for the army to finally release before the stuff was usable.
Yep.
This one, 4 weeks, it's not bad. That's not a bad turnaround.
Well, I feel like that's what they're trying to do more now is like you're no longer getting that box 6 months before whatever ridiculous. It's like, no, now you get it, and it's just like a month early preview.
Yeah.
So what's funny is originally the Smash Captain was named as a Warhammer Day mini. Now that's not what they call it. They just say being released as a jump pack Primaris Marine who can have either a Thunderhammer or a Chainsword, whereas they specifically call Urkon the Dark Warden is presiding over this year's Warhammer Day as the commemorative miniature.
I'm pretty sure that when the first article that they released,
it was one for each game.
It was one for each game, and they called them that. These are Warhammer Day exclusive miniatures, one for each system. And I think as the further articles were released, they dropped that and decided to keep the Smash Captain forever.
And now he's permanent.
So that was a weird choice.
But here was the most disappointing line. It explains what you can arm Urkon the Dark Warden with in terms of his helmet or his head or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it says he would make a perfect exalted hero of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to have no rules of his own. He's not. We don't even know what the back of him looks like, do we?
No. I think he's probably got a shield on his back.
Because the current exalted hero of chaos, which is a good looking model on its own, has just hand weapon shield.
He also has the option to do 2 weapons, right? 2 axes or something?
I don't think so. I think he is cheap as chips, just a dude on foot. And I think he can buy or he can take a relic or whatever, I think. But he's a sub-hero, like where he gets unlocked if you take certain Lord level guys.
I thought there was 2 loadouts for him.
Nope. He is just anti-hero +1 rend, anti-monster +1 rend. Just has Blades of the Dark Champion for rules.
How many attacks?
5. 3s, -1, 2.
What's that model look like? Yeah, that's the guy I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you can.
He did. Okay, so
you can put him with 2 weapons or a shield.
3rd edition, he had 2 different loadouts,
but he doesn't.
One was double axes, one was weapon and shield. Now he's just weapons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
And so he's either a Ruinous Champion, which means he can be a free slot.
I mean, this guy to me looks like I really do not like the Chaos Lord on foot.
No, that's an old model.
Because it's from Fantasy.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And it's not, the dimensions, the proportions are bad.
Which they haven't replaced it yet, by the way.
This guy looks like a replacement for that.
Yeah, should have been.
This could have been the replacement for just Chaos Lord on foot.
And he gets +1 to damage if he's targeting a hero or monster.
Which is fine.
So he's rend 2 against heroes or monsters and then damage 3.
Pretty good.
He's supposed to, but he's just 90 points.
I know. He's in a weak army, though. So it's like,
the funny thing is,
he
can lead his own regiment. But the only thing he can have if he leads his own regiment is 0 to 1 monster.
Oh, and it should also be just like Warriors of Chaos too, because the regiment, the regimental options are like he's going to have some kind of infantry of some kind that go along with him. But it's almost like, why bother having him lead his own when he can be taken in a different?
Yeah, he doesn't eat up a slot. No, he's only 90 points. He's okay for 90 points. Yeah. So, but that's a shame. It's like you give us this named guy.
Mm-hmm.
Why not make him?
Or like, do you remember the rules they gave for Korgus Cole in his 3 forms?
Yep.
One of them was a Dark Oath character version. One of them was his current, Blades of Corn
Lord.
Yeah. And the other one was a Demon Prince Ascended. Yep. All 3 versions were solid. All 3 were like, this is not too good, but it's like, this is a unique, really cool thing. White Dwarf only, Legends, whatever.
Immediately, yeah.
Is the only, never got points. Like, what a waste. Why? You came up with 3 really cool, unique, themed War Scroll ideas for these corn-based characters, and then you just didn't let us actually use them?
Not only that, this is a little thing, but you come up with a cool name like Urkhan the Dark Warden, and it's going to waste.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to print that on the box.
Do you remember what the...
you're going to have people, by the way, who don't understand how that works, who see, who's this guy? What's he do? Right. Oh, nothing. He just does Exalted Hero of Chaos.
What about Zarkan, Bane of Law?
Yeah.
It's fucking cool. What, you wasted that name, too, because your normal little... sorcerer now is used by that model.
Well, I feel like you probably had someone in the design studio who was a fluff nerd, who wrote a little bit about him, maybe a short story, whatever. Maybe he's going to appear in a book somewhere. But it's like, so they make this model, and they're like, oh, what are we going to do with it? How about we make it a commemorative model release for Warhammer Day only, and he'll have no rules.
Torgath Split Eye.
Yep.
The Chaos Dark Oath champion with double axes.
Yep.
Games Day exclusive or... Con exclusive.
Yep.
You had... Oh, there's another cool
They gave
one.
the War Queen a name for a while.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like, but the rules are just Dark Oath War Chief, Dark Oath War Queen.
Yep.
The end.
Yep. Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many cool characters like that. Or the Rook, the Knight of the Rook, Arch Knight, commemorative model. It's just like, super cool guy. What is he?
You just play him
what is he? He doesn't have rules. There's nothing you can play him as except swapping out your one of 6 models in that command core unit with him. Yeah. It's like,
or I guess you could make him a squad champion, right?
No, because there's no unit in that army.
No, but you could use him scale-wise.
Oh, would you use him as a steel helm?
Well,
no.
Right, but that's just it. Yeah, you'd have to waste that unique
He's
model.
also on the wrong base to be in that unit.
You'd have to waste a model that unique. And this guy could... I mean, Urkhan the Dark War, it looks a little generic. It's a sweet model. Mm-hmm. But, again, the Exalted Champion of Foot we have is already new. It came with the last Slaves release. And so it's like... So now you gave us another one, just like 2 sorcerers back-to-back that are no different rules-wise. Mm-hmm. They're not unique. You didn't decide to, like...
Two sorcerers back-to-back, and then the Warhammer Plus model the year before was a sorcerer.
It was also a sorcerer.
You give us 3 Chaos Sorcerers for Slaves of Darkness within 12
months. Who have
months.
no different rules.
None of them have any rules. And the rules for that model in the army are the weakest rules I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They don't have a unique spell.
Nope.
They don't have any other rule except for choose a unit nearby on a blah, blah, blah. They get a 6+ ward.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
No unique spell. It's like, what?
You know what? Right. It's like, why don't you make this guy, release it to the masses, make it a Warhammer Day launch, and maybe he's not mass available for a bit. But then when you do make him mass available, do a PDF, do an update to your slaves, and it's like, maybe he's not even super special. Like your current Exalted Hero on Foot's 90 points. Cheapest chips. Yep. He's fighty. That's it.
Maybe he buffs specifically Chaos Warriors.
Right.
Right, because Chaos Warriors are not getting a lot of play right now. We're Chosen and Knights and Vanguard Warriors. Nope.
Give him a little pseudo command ability where it's like, pick 1 unit of Chaos Warriors within whatever, they get a thing. Yeah. Like, that's it. Make him 110 points, right?
When he fights, a nearby unit of Chaos Warriors can fight after him, and they get +1 to hit when they do so. Whatever, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems like a waste of effort.
It is.
Right? It's like you spend the effort to actually make the model, design it to make it available, and it's just like, for what?
So they used to do that way back in the 1990s. They would do their battle reports in White Dwarf. And they would always do one for 40K and one for fantasy. And the fantasy one, they would do that all the time, where whoever the 2 guys were playing would nerd out and make up names for all their generic characters. And so you'd be confused when you were like a kid and you're reading this and you're like, oh, who is Terra's and the Red Donged or whatever. And you're reading it and it's like, well, this is a named guy. You're looking through your army book. I don't see him. You're looking through whatever. You don't see him, the rule book. And it's like, that's a waste of effort because they even have stats and what he's carrying. That's what this feels like. It's like they nerded out, gave him name and a story, and it's like, but that guy has no rules.
This is just an art piece.
Yes.
You know, it's like you might as well have released it a bust.
Yep.
You know, like it's barely usable in the game. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. It's a weird choice.
And now we do this wrap up. I mean, we're not Warhammer exclusive, but we do a weekly wrap up kind of what happened in the world of Warhammer. Now they do that on their own website. I noticed.
If you're listening, we see you.
Yeah, we see you. And then there was some Middle Earth stuff. It's a bunch of their characters, like whatever.
Yeah.
Which they're plastic and everything, but boy, did they paint them interesting. That's the word phrasing I'm going to choose.
Okay. Interesting is a word I would use when it's something I don't like, but I don't want to insult anybody.
It was like when Guy Fieri ate something on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives you could tell was not good, and he'd be like, "Oh, there's really interesting crunch there." Yeah, you knew he didn't like whatever that was.
Exactly. But interesting.
Yeah, they did a couple of, and it's funny is we've seen these released before. These new plastic heroes, and the first time they previewed them, they were painted nice, like the heavy metal standard. Now they show them that you can buy them, and it was like they didn't zoom in on these because. Wow, that beard is just flat white with no anything.
Right. I wonder if it's like community, paint jobs from the community. And again, if it's your model, no offense, but like maybe the submissions they got for this week's thing, right, from community submissions for these models, just was not up to standard. Like, and so they didn't want to be like, hey, we sent these out to the community and look at what they came back with. Maybe they didn't even want to call that out because
I mean,
they just weren't.
Nobody can see. Maybe we'll show a picture, but take a look at them eyes.
Oh my God. All of her eye sockets are just white. They're just white circles with black dots.
And that's Hera on horse.
Boy.
Yeah, it is like they look like fried eggs.
Yeah.
And the seam on the horse is still visible.
Yeah, it is.
Like
I don't know. That's weird.
So it's funny is they do that with Middle Earth now and then. If you go all the way back to when they first launched their Lord of the Rings game, 2002 or whatever, they then did one a little later called War of the Ring, and it was when they put them on round bases in movement trays. And the rule book launched, and it was the same thing. They had a plastic version of Gandalf back then that wasn't good, like even detail wise. But the paint job they did, it was funny is he had this just like cotton candy beard that stuck straight out, and it was just flat off-white, and his skin was just flat peach. They didn't paint the eyes, but they like had this picture zoomed out, so you really couldn't get a. I was like, oh man, you could tell they rushed at the end and just told one of the random like
put
army
some color
painters.
On this.
Normally you only do the background photos, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Just here you go.
That's funny.
So I don't know. Every now and then they hit a snag like that with the game. Because again, when they previewed those same models a while ago, they were painted really nice, and these ones it was like, oh no.
You have one of them, don't you? Don't you have the Hera?
I have Hera.
Yeah. So you've even seen it. What it looks like in person. That's
and
funny.
It gives you both, by the way. It gives you her on foot and on horse.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of them they do that because it's required because the game has rules for dismounting and
they're so small,
and the scale is smaller, so they're like 25 mil. Like they're tiny. So like using a Middle Earth model as a stand-in for anything in one of the other Warhammer games, it does not work.
It's really not.
The scale is not
because
there.
even when you take a bigger model like one of their trolls or something, it's still the proportions of the limbs and hands are just weirder. So you put them next to a Warhammer figure and it just kind of doesn't fit, which I guess is a testament to their versatility. But the paint job this time was a little weird.
That's funny.
Quickly before we get to some hobby chat, so there's new Marines coming out. I still don't know if for the Con or VAR, so the White Scars and Iron Hands guy respectively, if we've seen their full rules. I've seen a description of the Iron Hand players' rules, and on paper, without knowing his points cost, he seems possibly better than the Vulcan, Lysander, and whatever we got. And we might have thoughts on that, like why those rules were so generic. Ethan Sean wasn't that generic, but he wasn't usable for any of his fightiness. He was only usable because he could score. And
you just have him by himself, and he is a scoring unit, or he's a free CP unit, or he's not shootable from outside of 12 inches.
He basically
and
hides
he's fast.
in the corner and buffs somebody.
Right.
Is it Kenneck Var, the Iron Hands one?
Yeah.
He seems really good on paper, where he not only hits a bit better than a lot of Marines because he's got 2 weapon modes with that
Tetsubo?
tech Tetsubo. Yeah.
It's a power maul,
Yeah.
but it's very much like this is just a piece of wood with studs in it.
Yep.
You know?
And so he either gets 5 swings at high strength AP2 damage 2, or 10 swings at
1 damage.
5 strength 5 1
You're
damage.
similar to like strike and sweep mode.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And then he's in Terminator armor with an invulnerable save, so he's going to be a little tough.
And he can lead Terminator, join and lead Terminators.
He can join and lead Terminators.
But I wonder what specifically that means. Because we only got a description of it. Does it mean he can only lead Terminators, the unit? Can he lead assault Terminators, a different unit than just Terminators?
Don't know yet.
Like, we don't know. Are there specialty Terminator units that he can lead? Don't know.
I think so, and it was vague because that's how websites that get preview copies of rules are only allowed to say so much.
Right.
Like
they can't be too specific.
They can't also just show you an image of like the data sheet or whatever. So when they were describing it on a couple places, it was like Goonhammer and Spiky Bits. I trust the former a little more than the latter. They said he can only lead infantry, and it was stuff in Terminator armor.
Okay.
So that could mean either. His rules also seem to buff whether you're shooting or fighting, because it was just an attack. And it was against monsters and vehicles. They get lethal hits. Against any other unit, they get sustained hits. So you could see a use for either. And then he sort of has a like command ability where at the start of the game he can give a unit a scout move, and then he can put another unit back and redeploy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty strong. Depending on his points, if he's tough, he might be useful.
If he's 180 points, probably won't be playable.
No.
If he's 140,
He's like $140, right?
I think you can see use cases. If he's 100, he's auto include. Like, that's usually how those things work.
And then it sounds like if he's in some new detachment they're getting, he's super useful because there's some stuff they get to double up on there with they get to replace their oath with a different one.
Right.
Where now they get rerolls to hit and then rerolls of 1 to wound, and then they got some unique artifacts coming in. So that, I don't know. This is a neat way that they're expanding them, but I still feel like with Vulcan, Sean, and Lysander, they didn't give them really very unique rules at all, because they might have...
Yeah, maybe they're getting an update.
There's a Redux coming or something. Who knows? We don't know that yet. And I haven't seen any rules for the con yet, for the new one, on bike. But that jet bike looks sweet. Good for them.
Which, again, is super weird because there's only really one unit now that is mounted, on bikes.
Outriders,
And has Outriders, and they're not great because there's no options, there's no special weapons, there's
bolters,
no anything. And so it's like, how useful is a character who can only join a bad unit?
So do you think, by the way, whenever Space Marines get their next big update, I wonder if they'll expand on the Outrider stuff a bit. Like, now they've phased out the attack bike and the regular bikes. We got the ATV and the Outriders. Maybe they'll give them now some more weapon options,
Well, I mean, I was hoping with, any kind of an update to Dark Angels. I mean, we'd spoken about Ravenwing getting an update. Maybe they'll have a Ravenwing Knight kit that also doubles as Outriders with special weapons.
Oh, that'd be kind of neat.
Kind of thing.
That'd be kind of neat.
Power swords. I mean, it doesn't need to be axes or, hammers or anything like that, but just something else besides a chainsword.
Yeah.
Maybe something better than a bolter.
Well, maybe they go a route we haven't thought of yet. Maybe they make like a veteran bike unit. Maybe they're small, like 3. It'd be like the Blade Guard equivalent, but on bikes.
I mean, current Outriders are already units of 3.
They are.
And so I think they can be up to 6 now. They couldn't before. I think they can. There's still a few units that were initially released back in 10th, early 10th, that were like 3-man units.
Oh,
that
right.
You cannot reinforce still. Like, it was something like, I don't think you can do the what are they called? The jump pack guys with the autocannons. Suppressors. I don't think you can reinforce suppressors. I don't think you can reinforce eliminators. Those are the snipers.
Yeah, Outriders can be reinforced and they can have 1 ATV.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like a couple of the units of like units of 3 you cannot reinforce still, which makes them marginally useful.
Yeah.
Because there's especially thinking about like a Raven Guard player, one of the artifacts that you can have is one of your special sneaky librarian can take a super camo cloak that makes it so that the unit he's joined to can't be targeted outside of 9 inches or 12 inches or something like that. And one of the things he can join is an eliminator squad. It's like, oh, that'd be cool, but it's only 3 guys. It's like you're going to dedicate a librarian with an artifact to join a unit of 3 single shot
buy a
las
pricey
cannons.
character.
It's like, man, that's not worth it.
Waste one of your artifacts.
Yeah.
To attach them to a unit of 3.
Right.
By the way, those 3 guys can't kill anything.
No.
Like, they don't do enough to actually kill an important target.
Right. And like, the funny bit is they have 2 like kind of diametrically opposed rules for that unit based on the gun type, because you can take them with their las fusils is what they're called. They're like flat damage las cannons.
Yeah.
But if you have the las fusils, you lose your ability to like snipe out characters. They lose precision with those. But if you take them with precision, they're not strong enough guns to actually kill anything. Because even most characters that you are trying to snipe out of a unit are tough 4 or 5. Well, the gun's only strength 5.
Yeah.
So you're 3 shots wounding on a 3 or a 4 at 2 damage apiece, trying to with -1 or some crap like that, trying to snipe off a 5-wound character. It's like, it's not going to happen.
Who's got armor and an invuln probably?
It's not going to happen. A 4-up invuln, not going to happen.
No.
And then in addition to that, you also want to take the sergeant of the unit with a non-sniper rifle so that you can reposition. So you have some little bit of maneuverability. But it's like, okay, so you've got some maneuverability on 2 shots. The unit just doesn't make any sense to me. It's so not useful. It's like Reavers, right? Who just don't have a role. Like, you can see what they were trying to go for kind of initially.
Yep.
But they fall flat trying to actually perform that role. And so it's just, I don't know. A lot of the Phobos stuff is in that boat. I did misspeak last week, by the way, that kill team for Space Wolves that has like all the special weapons in it, the plasma gun and the psyker. They are all wearing Phobos armor.
Okay.
So they have. You couldn't see their like midsection on a lot of them because they've got like the guns in the way. But they do have that sort of corkscrew sort of shaped abdomen.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And so like they are Phobos units. So that's why they call them scouts. But it's interesting because no Phobos units in the game aside from these can take any of these weapons. These are the first ones that have something better than combat knives.
Right.
You know, like Phobos armor is just, while it's the lightest and most efficient armor, like they have not given them really anything.
Nope.
It's really bizarre. But yeah, really, really interesting. So I wanted to clarify that.
We like to clarify when we.
But yeah, I could totally see a big like a reckoning coming for Space Marines in the form of expansions and what they call them, supplements.
Well, this might be
might
be the time when they're finally going to rip the Band-Aid on the Firstborn in terms of 40K, because now Horus Heresy has a lot of plastic.
Yep.
And they're releasing these updated characters in their kind of Primarisy forms, and Ultramarines are getting the big update, and there's all this. We're coming to the end of an edition.
I mean, honestly, when you do think about Firstborn, there isn't really a whole lot still around.
No.
I mean, Vanguard vets,
Centurions.
Right? Wait, Vanguard vets, did they get...
They have not gotten updated.
Right.
The Sternguard got updated.
The Sternguard got updated with their combi weapons, which are useless. But the Sternguard, the Vanguard vets still are old.
Yeah.
We've gotten like jump pack intercessors and stuff like that.
And we've gotten like the Sanguinary Guard updated that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The normal tactical squads are still around.
Somehow.
Kind of not replaced yet by intercessors and regular intercessors. They're still around somehow. I could see them going very soon, honestly. The Devastator squad, we've almost got every weapon type represented in a squad that comes from the Devastators.
Yep.
Because we've got you've got your heavy intercessors, they have heavy bolters and heavy bolt guns, right? You got your missile launcher squad. You've got your flamer squads. You've got
Melta squad, your plasma squad.
You've got Melta. Yep. You've got your. There's no plasma squad. They
Hellblaster.
Oh, the Hellblasters. I forgot about the original.
And they come in a box of 10.
Forgot about the original Hellblasters. Holy crap. Yeah, you're right.
But this is also why I don't think...
The only thing we're missing is a true las cannon squad.
Correct.
Because
right now it's only on a platform.
The previous ones we were talking about, which were the Eliminators that have those las fusils, really are not las guns or las cannons, and so we don't have a las cannon squad. If we got one of those, I'd be like, yeah, Devastators are out now.
Well,
and
so I know this might make people sad, but it's because they've decided to make each squad of weapon types. It's why I also don't think intercessors will ever have the option to take special weapons.
Right. I agree.
Because they're going to be like, well, why would we give you the option to buy cheap Marines and put a plasma gun in it when we also have Hellblasters?
Mm-hmm.
Please buy our Hellblasters. I just think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Like Primaris functions different. They even describe in the lore since the beginning, before they made all these different squads, they described in the lore that Primaris, unlike regular Marines, are not like created, come out, and then have to learn everything. They're created with the programming to have a specific role, so they don't like graduate and move around to different things. You're not a Moonshoe jump pack guy and then decide to go be a Hellblaster. It's like you come out and you're a Hellblaster. You come out and you're a Moonshoe guy. Now you can ascend ranks, but there's controversy on that within the Imperium on how they're made. But it sounds like they're weapon role specific. So
yeah.
I agree though. They would still need, if they did a las thing, and maybe they would do it like the heavy intercessors or the eliminators or the whatever, where they'd give us 2 or 3 different las cannon types.
Yeah. Now they have flattened a lot of those now recently, where there's all these different bolter types and stuff. And they're just like, they're just bolters.
A heavy bolter.
This is a bolter.
Well, I mean, like
we don't have stalker bolt rifle and light, whatever. It's just
but the heavy intercessors get an
bolter
option.
carbines and
the eliminators get different melta types. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then the Hellblasters have a couple different so they might do that. If they do a unit of 3 guys with a las cannon equivalent or whatever, they might give us fluff. And you're right.
I'd love to see a 5-man squad of las cannons, because they did it with the missile launchers.
And I could see...
they did it with the plasmas.
Yep. And I could see if you were... Oh, yeah, that ridiculous missile launcher.
Mm-hmm.
I could see... once they did that, I could see them being like, okay, Devastators are just as a thing, gone.
Just gone.
But there are rumors that Primaris Vanguard vets are coming.
Yeah.
But again...
Well, because then lore-wise, you could say, we see all these Primaris Vanguard vets. Well, they're all the old Marines. The old Firstborn Marines have all either died or achieved ranks, and they've been promoted up as veterans.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, well, you were a guy who was versatile, who liked this kind of weapon. Well, you're just now a Vanguard vet now, and you've got your combi whatever of choice that has a generic weapon profile with all the other ones. That kind of thing.
Could be, yeah.
That could let them, kind of band-aid away all the old models.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be that sad. I even think they need to decide the fate of, like, the tanks, too.
Yeah.
Either move on and do all hover tanks that fit the Primaris style, that don't need tracks repaired, and that can carry every type of Marine.
That actually might be coming. I would not be surprised, actually, because as soon as all old Marines are gone...
what do you have a need for the Rhino for?
What do you need the Rhino? Why do you need the Predator? Why do you need...
Razorback.
Why do you need these?
Yeah.
They go away from 40K, and they are now vehicles in the Heresy.
Yep. Because they already got new models there, by the way.
Right.
They got a newer Rhino. I would
honestly not be surprised if we see that.
Yeah.
Sad as it may be to lose iconic things like those, the scale of them doesn't work anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like a Rhino is supposed to carry 10 Marines. If you look at the scale of a Rhino compared to an old Marine, how are 10
sardine cans?
How are 10 guys supposed to fit in the back of that Rhino?
And now you're going to talk about Primaris Marines.
Right. The scale was wrong to begin with.
Yep.
Like that Rhino should have been 50% bigger in every direction for it to be scaled appropriately to fit guys of that size.
Well, and they made new ones and new Predators and new Whirlwinds and new whatever Vindicator, but they made them all for Heresy, and those shorter stuntier Marines. So you've got those there now.
Yep.
I know there'd be the funny thing is, when is the last time a 40K only player actually bought a Rhino and it wasn't the Horse Heresy kit because it's new?
Right.
So I don't know. I think the whining would be there. Rhinos always
but you still have Rhinos. Sisters of Battle still uses Rhinos.
Well,
and like Chaos Marines still use Rhinos.
To be fair, I do think GW is gonna there's gonna be some of those things they just never let go of. But I do think the generic tax squad can go now. It's time. You've made all the roles that they used to anyway. On the on that note, we can talk ad nauseum about what is possibly coming for Space Marines, because the rumors are just flying and models are everywhere. And just when you think that roster couldn't get more models, they come up with more. But on the hobby side, I got to take part in something for the first time this weekend that I've never done. And that was, I got to be a part of a stream on Twitch.
Okay.
So Voodoo 6 Studios and Mothership, Voodoo 6 Studios, their husband and wife, they have their own channels, but they also do this charity stream every year, and all the proceeds go to a children's hospital.
Were they the ones that did, they did a stream last year too, right?
Yeah.
Did they do things in person at like conventions? Is that them?
I think they do. I know Mothership herself. Well, Voodoo, I don't know everything about him, but I know he's overseas right now.
Okay.
I think he does military stuff. And then Mothership was here running the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 24 hours. It started at 11 a.m. Eastern Saturday and ran until 11 a.m. Eastern today, I think. And there was a number, like I was on there, Brush Stepped was on there, Runic Raccoon, Walter's Workshop, Sparkhammer Minis, Broken Posture, The War Mistress, Dracoya was on there, and she was doing giveaways, Misha Paints. All these people were on there and appeared and did different things. Some people were doing trivia, some people were painting, some people were doing giveaways.
What did you end up doing?
Well, I picked the time slot that kicked the whole thing off.
Oh, geez.
So all these nerds in the morning, you know. So all I did really was I explained a very simple color theory use of the Chimera Paints expansion set 1. How you can do anything with just 3 off primaries, not even necessarily primary, but following the rules of primary. So color theory made for beginners. Then I showed off some of the new velvets because I had my hands on a few sets. So I was learning them with the people on site, and we were watching how they perform. And then that was shortly after I released a video about the hot and cold velvet set, which is actually going around on Instagram right now. So that was all I really got to do, and that hour just flies by. 1 hour of painting is not.
Yeah.
You're talking to people and painting. It's just 1 hour's gone. Yeah, but I don't know if picking the first one to kick off the time slot was great because nobody's ready and I'm not ready, and I don't know. But it was fun. It was still fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how the rest of it went. I only popped in every now and then to see. I was busy. But I got to be a part of that, which was super cool. And then I'll have some more videos coming out here shortly about using the new velvets because they're finally coming to market here next month, I think. So that's kind of neat. And then that was all I really got to do hobby-wise, though, this weekend.
Yeah, I had a pretty busy weekend myself. I didn't really get to much. More conceptualizing how I want to handle some of my projects. Not really executing much. But I think with a couple of my projects I'm doing, I'm actually going to try my hand at some pretty heavy sculpting.
Sculpting?
Mostly
okay.
Because the thing I want to do just doesn't really exist at the scale that I want to do it. Right?
All right.
So what I mean by that is like the bits that I'm trying to find for a bigger guy just don't exist. Right? Like any kind of like extra weapon bits and swords and stuff like that are all much smaller scale for a normal human-sized guy. The guy I'm trying to work on right now is huge. Like he's a monster, and so finding something that works for him is you have to source the bits from other similar-sized monsters, right? Well, there's so many things that I have that are so specific to a faction or specific to that guy that it's like it's too recognizable. You know what I mean? Like that bit is like it's too
obvious.
clearly this that it won't work for this completely opposing, faction. And so it's like, well, what are my options here? I scour and find something that I don't have. I make something I do have work, but in a janky way, or 3D print something, or maybe I just make my own. Like I can make my own thing that fits the bill for what I want it to do, and I think that's where I'm gonna go with. So I mean, I think it's not gonna be putty and green stuff to start. I think it's gonna be maybe some sculpting with foam and plastic card to create like nice sharp angles.
Going to old school,
kind of angular, and then once it's assembled, smoothing it out with some green stuff or some putty, and applying rivets and stuff with green stuff, things like that. Beads, I don't know. Just like hobby stores are great for that, for finding.
So for rivets,
for
one thing I've seen, one neat trick I've seen, a few people do it. I think Henry on Cult of Paint kind of makes it pretty famous. But there's actually a type of aluminum foil called stamping foil, or stamp foil, and it behaves just a little different than the kitchen version. And what they'll do is just take like the back. They'll either take like a paper clip if you need to make a small one, or like an unsharpened pencil if you need to make a really big one. But you literally just punch it through it, and you get that perfect little rivet circle that's just slightly curled on one end, and you can glue it straight on. It looks like a rivet.
Okay.
So that might be a way you can get that. That might be a way to get some rivets.
Yeah.
Because you can do that with, I mean, you can even do it with the back of like not a chopstick, but like a wooden skewer, so you get that medium size for a bigger model.
Yeah.
And you can just run those up and down the whatever it is, the weapon or something you're trying to make.
Like I said, I mean, that or like there are kind of like domed sort of beads. They're like self-adhesive, like sticker back beads. That could work, and then I don't have to worry about scaling them, or if I mess one up, I've got extras, or then you glue them in place and you, I don't know, permanently affix them. I don't know, because I think the way I want it, the weapon itself that I'm making is going to be kind of tapered, so I kind of want like 3 sections of 3 slightly like ascending sized rivets, and like I don't know if I could do that. Find the right tools to punch my own. I don't know. I got some ideas. I got some thoughts. I just don't know what I want to do yet. Doing like a green stuff rivet of just like a flattened ball, press it in place, I think is my last resort. Because
there's a lot of risk of that not being uniform.
Right. I don't think I can get them consistent. Is the thing. So, like I said, it's been very conceptual hobbying, not actual hands-on doing stuff hobbying this weekend for me. So, one way or another, it'll work out. And if not, I've got some bits that I can make something work with it. But I don't know. We'll see how happy I am with my attempts. So,
well, I mean, yeah, but I would look into that because I think you get big sheets of it, so you can do like thousands of them. But that's a super cool idea. Sculpting's one that I just don't do enough of. I know even when I was doing the Twitch stream and that people were trickling into the chat, and one guy was pretty chatty and had asked me about that because I was painting away, and then Mothership chimed in and was like, if you have any questions for him specifically. And so someone asked some questions about painting and how do you do this, how do you do that, and then one guy was just like, what about sculpting? And I'm like, what about sculpting?
What about sculpting? You're like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Remember, all the proceeds go to charity. But it was like, what about sculpting? And then they just had some questions, and it's like, really, my experience was super limited. I mean,
right. Well, and that's kind of the thing too. Is just because you're in the hobby doesn't mean you either know how to or are good at everything. Yeah. Right. Like that's one thing that we're kind of lacking on is the actual making of unique stuff.
And if I'm doing any sort of gap filling, smoothing, general shaping, maybe small trinkets, I can do that stuff with milliput and green stuff and use clay shaper tools and dental tools and whatever. But full on sculpting, nope. I have almost no experience.
Right.
And then the only classes I've ever taken for it were people who were teaching it. This is going to sound mean, but we're teaching it like the old way.
Right.
So way back in the 90s, miniatures were all cast kind of 2-dimensionally. So even though it was a 3-dimensional figure, the details were all built over a maquette.
So there was a plane in the center that you could split the whole model down, and basically every model was 2D off of that middle line.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many models that are just like holding their weapons up and their arms are like looks like they're flexing.
Right.
Or something
They're in
like
the disco pose,
right?
Yeah.
And so like, you sculpt basically 2 different halves of the mold that are very 2-dimensional flat off of that plane.
Yep.
One side is the one half of the model, one side's the other, and there's no holes that go all the way through. There's no
negative space
forward and backward and capes, and like all that stuff was like added extra.
Yeah, it was all
afterwards.
layered. So when they would sculpt, it was basically they only had to sculpt detail on one side.
Right.
So you were literally cutting the detail in. And so when I took some of those classes, it was like, well, here's how to make a purity seal where you only see one side of it. Here's how to make a feather where you only see one side of it.
Put it on a piece of plastic.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about the back because it'll be flat.
Yep.
You sculpt the hairs of the feather basically on one side.
Yep.
You carefully peel it off and you place it somewhere where the backside doesn't show.
Yep.
Like that's
it's 2-dimensional stuff that you stack. Instead of negative space, you don't have holes. You don't have view all around the detail. Well, models are different now, like especially Games Workshop plastics.
And it's very very noticeable when you try to throw in a flat detail to a new model.
It is. It is because now, now I know people argue that makes it harder to paint. It does because now a leather strap you have to paint all the way around the damn thing.
Yep.
Whereas you still have to paint one surface across and a lot of resin models are still that way, where it's just one surface, right? But So I never learned how to sculpt, which is what you got to do to really convert stuff now. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's
You have to have like a forearm attached with a paperclip to the torso.
Yeah.
And then you have to sculpt the whole bicep.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to fill in that gap around that paperclip to make the pose you want actually work.
Yeah, and you can do like what you're doing. It's like you can do a semi-homemade version where it's like, well, I'm going to use some existing bits and then build from there. That's like how Albert Moreto Font does it. But like,
well, like the model I'm working on, like the neck is just wrong for the creature I want. The body that is supplied just doesn't have kind of a long, because I'm making like a kind of a beast person.
yeah,
Most beast races, I would say, are animal based, and they have long necks. And so the head, where the natural location for the head to be compared to this body, is sticking really far out from where the neck is of the original model, where the head would be. And so I've got, actually, what I'm planning on doing, I've got it basically pegged in place with a piece of sprue. Is what I did.
Yep.
Big, thick,
Useful,
piece of sprue to get it in the right position. I use plastic glue to seal it in place. And what I'm going to do is fill in, call it 70% of the rest of the neck with other pieces of sprues and glue them in place and have them create the bulk of the neck.
Yeah.
And then once all that's mostly filled in, then I'll come in with milliput and green stuff and water that down and basically paint that into the gaps until there's a smooth surface of, where it meets up with, the original skin and like the jawbone of the head I chose. And so it won't be just me taking a quarter size ball of putty and making a neck out of that, because I've tried doing that stuff before, and it's just the way I've done it is I ruin it, because when I try to press it in place, it deforms in every which way because it's soft, right? It's like Play-Doh. You squeeze it one way and it comes out the other side. Mm-hmm. Like, it just never works. You have to fill an entire cavity to make something work where it's like it stays at the entrance. I'll try to like fill gaps and use that stuff, and I'll push it in, and it just never stops pushing because you Play-Doh it into the body where it's hollow.
I suppose the green stuff, you can lay it over like a sheet.
Yeah.
Let it cure a bit and then go.
Yeah.
Some people really have that skill.
But my issue with that is like I need this head, because it's a big, heavy, large head, to have a lot of support.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can do that with just a couple paper clips and green stuff.
A sheet of green stuff.
Yeah. And so like I want to actually sculpt, basically construct the neck out of actual plastic, and then go back in and do the skin and surface detail with my putty and my green stuff. So that's my idea. We'll see if it works. I think it's going to work. Famous last words.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should work.
It's going to work. It should work.
We'll see how it turns out. But again, doing plastic cement / plastic glue, whatever that actually is, melting the plastic in place and forming chemical bonds, right? It takes a long time for that stuff to cure and set. So if you try to mess with it too early, it gets really tacky and you ruin the connection you had made between the parts, and you have to redo it again, and it's kind of a mess, and so it's also a very long process of waiting for each individual like piece that I'm slapping on there to fill, actually cure and fuse together essentially. So yeah, it's
learning as you go.
It's interesting.
Good news is, I suppose, that it's a neck. I feel like without telling people what it is, since I know what the pieces are that it comes from, I feel like a lot of that might not be so visible.
Yeah, a lot of it's hidden, but like if you look at it from the wrong angle, you'd be like, oh yeah.
What was going on here?
Yeah. And then maybe you'll win a silver medal if you leave it unsculpted.
Yeah.
Referring to a very specific scandalous event at a Golden Demon where a broken / unpainted model was submitted and still got awarded.
Silver,
it kind of got awarded on the merit of its potential. And
what was done was spectacular.
Like, who submitted it? Like the parts that were done were great. The composition of the piece was great. The custom glasswork, call it, was great. But
and the scene was quintessentially Warhammer.
Yes.
But we saw spots where it was like, is that exposed plastic and glue?
Yeah, I can literally see glue.
Yeah.
Unpainted, unprimed glue.
Yep.
Not like, I glued it and I had to paint it real quick, so I primed it and glued over and like painted over it. It's like, no, I see gray plastic and glue on a competition piece.
Yeah.
That then got silver. In a very difficult painting competition.
That was
a Golden Demon.
It was a Golden Demon. Now it was a few years ago.
Yep.
And it was like that first one after COVID, I think. So it was like, a lot of rules hadn't been set yet, but
still, it's like immediately disqualifying. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like no matter how good the thing is, if it's unfinished, it's broken. If it broke on transit and you couldn't fix it in time to that standard, you don't submit it. Or you submit it as like, well, I did what I could, and they're like, oh yeah, you did, but we can't give you anything for this because
it wasn't a case where the handlers, Games Workshop judges broke it. That was just it broke in transit, and that's unfortunate. And I know people will say you shouldn't be penalized for that. It's like, well, but you have to repair it and get it into the competition. You have days when you arrive, like. You don't have to get it in Wednesday or Thursday. Like you have till like early Saturday morning. Like I don't know. Anyway,
and I don't think the painter himself thought it was going to place anything because I mean you put forth a lot of effort and you wanted to just get it out there and let people see it, right? Like you submit it out of like, well, I did it already. I might as well throw it in. But the fact that the judges were like, yes, silver, was shocking to everyone, including the painter.
It was,
and it's like I forfeit my silver because I don't deserve this. Is kind of like the mentality like I feel like I'd have. I'm like, no, you're not giving me a silver for that. Are you kidding me?
Well, and we saw the next year how that was, I don't know if you want to say corrected, but there was that magnificent piece in Age of Sigmar Large where there's like a Stormcast guy on a bird, dog, horse, whatever, and what was painted was immaculate.
Yeah.
But you turn the model around and there was like a quarter of it that wasn't done. So they didn't win anything.
Right.
They didn't even get like a pin because it was like, your paint work was worthy of possibly placing.
But you didn't finish it.
You didn't finish it.
I mean, you had a Sigval that you submitted that looked pretty good.
Yep.
But the mood on your piece, I remember that year, was such that you had a shadow cast from Sigvald's shield over his like left leg that was beneath it. But when he got to the case and you could see it with the 360 lighting, it was like, oh shit.
It just looks unfinished.
My left leg just looks unpainted.
Yep.
Even though it's like the intention there was, yes, this is a shadowed part. It shouldn't be illuminated to the same level as everything else in the model. I'm choosing this on purpose. The effect did not land.
For display purposes, it does that.
Right.
For a competition where their plan is to look at it every angle. So, and what you just said, a cast shadow. So a cast shadow is a very specific result you can achieve in miniature painting, but it still has to look finished. The way that was done dramatically made it look like the left leg was just not done.
Right.
And so
it's like, oh, you just primed this XV88.
Like burnt umber.
Yeah, it was like...
and so it was like... So I got a pin for that one, but it was like, I know once I saw it there like that, it was like, oh, that's not going to be in contention because that just looks undone.
Yep.
The
fact they gave you a pin, maybe they realized what you were going for.
Might have.
But...
Yeah, and to be fair, there was another Sigvald in that same category there that looked really good, that did place. So it's interesting as we talk about Games Workshop there, and I know that they're the frequent topic of conversation, but I always feel like I'm so against the grain or I'm in the minority on a lot of things when it comes to them, because what you'll see on social media and on websites, time after time, people complaining about them, and then you read what the complaint's really about. It's unfortunate is that the complaint itself, the clickbaity nature of whatever someone titled something goes viral, and then people just repeat it. They just regurgitate it. And then you read the context of what their complaint really is. It's like, well, is that really reason to... I know you want to hate big company because big company, but like if they told, let's say, this guy who's making a living 3D printing models that are clearly ripoffs of the 40K universe and being sold as stand-ins for 40K models for people to play on their own or on smaller tournaments that are not GW official, and GW came in and said,
stop that.
You can't print that thing that is clearly a 40K Space Marine anymore.
You found 3 words that are synonyms for Space Marine and
whatever.
Like you found 3 synonyms and you called it that. You're not fooling anybody.
And so there was one in particular, and I'm not calling out the individual whose business was affected, but it happened recently. This happens a lot, but I'm going to use this one as an example. And like the community's immediate outreach or immediate cry was, Big Bad Games Workshop comes in and ruins this guy's livelihood by canceling him or getting him running his business into the ground. And I was like, well, okay. So if this was something that the guy built from scratch, I could see the fight, and he'd probably find a lawyer who'd take that on for him. But when I looked at the only products this person made, there was nothing that was like original.
Right.
There was nothing that wasn't just
For
clearly.
example, look at Mini Wargaming's game.
Yeah,
that they
Ravage
came
Star.
out with.
Yeah,
It's unique enough
it is.
that it's clearly inspired by, but isn't Warhammer 40K.
Right.
It's close.
Just like StarCraft is.
Right.
And they're getting their own mini game now, by the way,
Oh, boy.
next year.
Ugh.
People are excited about it, but yeah.
Whatever. We'll see.
But it's a little overdue, though. I mean, StarCraft 2 is now 15 years old, 20 years old. But point
remains.
Point
Yeah.
remains. So it was like you go back to 40K 5th edition when the Chapter House Studios thing happened, and that was when GW started protecting their IP. The fact was they weren't at the time. Chapter House was making bits and 3D prints, which was rare at the time, 3D printing, that were just straight up called the things that are in 40K. They were like, this is a Turvagon Claw or whatever, and it was like, oh, this is a Space Marine Thunderhammer. And so that was the lawsuit. And it sounds like because GW didn't protect their IP, they only won about half of the lawsuits. They lost like the other half. Chapter House, however, went out of business. Well, now GW is stringent about protecting their IP. They now don't make rules for stuff usually that they don't have models for. And so when someone comes along, has no original idea, they're just straight up ripping off the IP, and it's clear that that's what they're making these parts for. I don't feel that bad about Games Workshop protecting their IP.
Right.
Yes, this guy is a small business owner trying to get out there and do a thing, but like he had nothing else. He had nothing original to back himself up with. It was just, I stole their thing and I'm making parts for this thing, and now I'm upset that I'm losing my thing.
I'm having people pay me for these parts instead of the company for these parts.
Right.
I'm not giving them away. I'm not providing free STLs of upgrades for people, the community, to make, customize their thing. It's like, no, I'm selling these to be replacements for you buying the official stuff.
Right.
I'm undercutting them on their own products.
Yep.
And it's like,
and I'm providing STLs so people can just print their own 40K equivalents.
Right. It's like,
And so I don't know if I feel that bad. Like,
yeah.
for the human being, yes. But for what Games Workshop's doing, I don't think that makes them evil.
Yeah.
That, and if someone tries to claim it's like, well, they're doing well enough, it's like, yeah, but what happens when 15 guys do what he's doing?
Well, it's like
100 guys do what he's doing.
Have you ever watched a YouTube video? No, that's not the other thought. You ever watch a YouTube video where,
on that note, yeah.
where it's like someone reacting to a video?
Oh, yeah.
It feels like that.
Yes.
Right? Where it's like, oh, this reaction video of this famous person reacting to a smaller, very low view count video gets more views than the original video because this person's reacting to it. It feels like that. It's like you're not doing anything. You're not contributing anything. You're not
creating anything.
You're like, you literally scanned it or copied a thing that exists and you're selling it as your own.
Yeah.
You're copying someone else's content and posting a video under your channel with just your stupid face in the corner.
Yep.
Playing their thing.
Yep.
It's like, you're not adding anything here. You were just rehashing. Or it's like, oh, my favorite moments from this TV show YouTube video.
Right.
And it's like, you just went and ripped off 15 clips from a TV show and posted it to your
10
channel
million views,
as though it was your video. Like,
yeah,
it's that kind of stuff.
It's a huge thing where you're just appropriating material and you're just reacting to it, and sometimes not even reacting. Sometimes you don't even react. You're just posting it.
Yeah.
And then you're making a living off of someone else's material. Now, while this guy was, I guess, technically making or at least drawing alternatives, again, it was like if I took a drawing that existed of a Chaos Space Marine and I changed the spikes around or moved the sword to the left, or instead of a Badger grill made it a little different and then sold it to people targeting 40K audiences specifically, I'm not doing anything original. I'm just piggybacking on them. And so I don't know, when something like that happens and Games Workshop goes for it, it's not because they're big and powerful that they win. I mean, if they went through the process of going to court and the court looks at it and is like, well, yeah, you clearly ripped off their stuff. Like, there's a reason for that. Yeah. So I don't always think they're the bad guy, even when a little guy loses something. I don't know. I hope whoever that guy is goes and finds another thing to do. But
keeps doing his thing, but then starts making different stuff.
Yeah, just
that isn't so close.
Yeah.
Like, you can still do your thing. Like,
or make your own game.
There are plenty of other, like, Patreon 3D printing things that make a ton of generic sci-fi or fantasy stuff that are still stand-ins.
Yep.
Can still be used as stand-ins for Warhammer stuff.
Yep.
But the ideas are more unique And so it's like
Right.
you as the consumer are like, yeah, that thing is interesting. It's the right scale, or I could print it to the right scale. And I could just use that as this other thing, but it's not intended. They're not marketing as that. They're not saying, hey, 40K players, buy this from us for your thing.
Instead of buying from Games
Instead of
Workshop
buy-
because
it's-
Evil
right,
Games Workshop, right?
And so it's like,
And
I don't know.
then if people are supporting something like that for that reason, like, well, fuck Games Workshop, I'm not going to buy from them. It's like, well, why do you still play the games then?
no.
What are you doing? You want the games to exist and you want to play it. You just don't want to support them.
Yeah.
Like, so
That's how games die,
that is how games die,
right?
And I've yet to
Yeah.
see fans write a better version, by the way.
Yeah.
But like, anyway, so I don't know. Maybe that's an opportunity where the guy can go
Learn
make his own
something
games,
and,
even.
and,
Make-
be forced to be a little more creative.
Yeah,
know.
change them up and then make 4 factions and start your own game and see what happens.
And then people can still use those for 40K.
And people can still use
You
those
know?
stand-ins. That's like how some people
Yeah,
get away,
exactly.
quote unquote, with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know all the details. It's just it's always interesting to me that the internet's first reaction to everything is always, well, company equals
Once you make
bad.
enough money.
Yeah,
That's the point of a company.
yeah, still is, kind of always will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's another kind of company that maybe I could eat right now. I know it's mediocre, but there's
Noodles?
Noodles in Company.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's eat.
Thanks for joining. We hope you enjoyed. Follow us for more of our weekly episodes on YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. You can follow myself and Llama on Instagram. We are at Llama Paints Minis and Hyena Paints Minis. Music provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.